Welcome, I'm Lee Kellogg, and thank you for joining me again today for another wildflower yard exploration. There's more blooming. It's later in May. We're going into June. It is time to go see what else is coming up. So in the left, I've got a grouping of wild iris here that have sort of self-seeded. They established themselves here many years ago, and I've got them in a couple of places in the backyard where they get a lot of water. So these guys are directly underneath what we call a canale, and you can see it sticking out of the roof there. So our roofs, for the most part, here in Santa Fe are flat. And so when we get our rainstorms, there's just water just comes gushing off of these, and that's where this batch of iris lives. And there's another batch over by, you can sort of see the cattle trough down at the other end of the patio, which is my dog's water hole, his tub that he gets to play in when there's rain. And they grow, they self-seed, they have spread. I didn't plant them here. They just sort of joined us. And it's a lot of fun to see them grow and bloom and continue to expand. So here we have tiny phlox, and I have not been able to identify which type of phlox this is. It's a really short one. They're probably no more than 2 to maybe 3 inches high. And they do grow throughout the neighborhood. I see them all over the place growing, and these actually I've filmed right in my yard. They sort of volunteered. They have shown up over the years. So I've got a volunteer here between my two pots, and I looked it up, and it is Threadleaf groundsel. How about that for a name? Anyway, he's a volunteer. You can see him in between my two pots of lettuce and flowers, and he's getting lots of water. His blossoms, he's in the daisy family, the composite family, and also the aster family. They are both related. This guy is pretty darn healthy. He's getting lots of water, and he's somewhat sheltered. But another fun one, he's a volunteer. He's a native natural wildflower that some people would consider a weed, but there he is, growing. Another flower that has self-seeded in our yard are Penstemons, and this is a nice deep purple one that spreads easily. The bees love it. It's always full of bees working it, which I feel good about. And they just sort of, they grow. They are a perennial. So when I see the new ones coming up, I know it'll be a year or two before I see the blossoms. So let's check out the other Penstemon that's found in my yard. And once again, these guys are native. They have self-seeded here. They appeared after we sort of started doing a little landscaping. And this is a native to the area, and this is Penstemon Palmeri. It is just a nice pink Penstemon. You can see the blossoms there. And they're tall. They're about 2 to 2.5 feet tall, depending. I bet in other areas where they don't get as much water, they will be shorter. That's sort of typical in the Southwest, depending on the water. That's how much growth they get. So there we are. It's just another Penstemon, and over to the left there, you can see the deep purple of the Rocky Mountain Penstemon, so you can compare them. The Palmeri is a little bit taller than the Rocky Mountain. And even in good water years when we have lots of rain and the ground's nice and wet, the Rocky Mountain Penstemon, the purple ones over to the left, are always much shorter than the Palmeris. And here we're looking at flowers that, my journal pages of the flowers that we found in my yard. So on the far left is the Threadleaf groundsel, yet another yellow daisy composite-like flower that looks sort of like the New Mexico groundsel that we saw in the other video. And then the phlox, which we saw as a tiny low-growing plant. And then the next two are the two Penstemons that grow in my yard, the Palmeri and the Rocky Mountain Penstemon. So there you go, just a different, you don't have to be too precise too accurate. Do something that makes you happy. Like you saw in the other video I did, the one Penstemon sort of very artistically. It's like, it's for you, it's your work. Do what you need to do and enjoy. So I hope you enjoyed that nature journaling adventure and that we had a good time looking at the flowers and the other nature around my yard and how things work, like how we end up with water in certain places from the roof, from the canales, that's sort of unique to this part of the world, and just having fun being outside and exploring the world. So do your nature journaling pages, record what's in your yard, see what you see and observe. And remember, please subscribe to the channel, hit the subscribe button down below, and be sure to check that little bell that you get, that way you get notifications when I post a new video. And leave me a comment. I would love to hear what you have to say, and I will respond. You can always subscribe too to my newsletter. So we'll see you then. I'm Lee Kellogg, and you can find me at naturejournalingtours.com.